thank you so much for being here with us. I hope you can stick around for Steve Zuckerman's presentation, because he's going to be telling us what Rolling Hills Estates has done here with the Clean Power Lines and what Santa Monica has done as well.
I'm really looking forward to it, and I'll just say that this issue he's going to talk about is another one of these issues where we need to get more Democrats aware and active on pushing on this.
Right. So let me transition then over to Steve Zuckerman. He's going to be sharing his screen with us. He has a presentation. He's Rolling Hills Estates council person. He served on the City of Rolling Hills Estates Council since November 1997. Steve Zuckerman, he represents the city on the Clean Power Alliance board. The Clean Power Alliance, and sometimes you'll see the acronym CPA, is the new community choice aggregator provider in Los Angeles and Ventura counties. And Council Member Zuckerman will talk to us about how his city's residents are benefiting from having access to 100% clean energy. Having the opportunity to use 100% renewable energy is one of the single biggest changes a person can elect to do to change their carbon footprint. So I want people to really think about that. The biggest thing you can do, other than, people think, well, we'll talk about recycling a little bit later, but, or not buying a water bottle or something like that. But the single biggest thing you can do is use 100% renewable energy. And so here is Council Member, Rolling Hills Estates Council Member Steve Zuckerman. And hopefully he can share his screen with us. There we go.
Thank you very, very much. We'll be switching screens here in a bit. I'll go to some slides, but I'm going to try to handle this in, kind of a looser way. And I'm really happy that as part of this meeting, we have Jennifer Ward with us. And Jennifer is from the CPA, and she's extremely knowledgeable. So she'll be here to correct any mistakes I make or add any comments that should be added. So I guess we'll go to the screen right now. Let's see how that works. So here we are in Rolling Hills Estates. And I'm really happy to be giving this presentation because I think it's really important that people become more aware of what the CPA does. And really, I think Nancy put her finger on it absolutely perfectly. The average family creates 12,000 to 15,000 pounds of carbon every year in their electricity use. That's 15,000 pounds. That's a lot of carbon. Statewide, it's an unbelievable amount. So there really is nothing that you can do that's as significant or as easy as being a part of a community choice aggregator like the CPA. Now, these CCAs were originally enabled in, I believe it's the early 2000s by the state legislature, and very slowly that model has come to be adopted throughout the state. Originally, it was mostly Northern California where they popped up, and then we popped up in 2017. And by we, I mean the California Alliance. And what we really are proud about in many ways is how extensive our membership already is. It involves 30 cities, involves LA County, and it involves Ventura County. So we have about 1 million participants in the Clean Power Alliance. And that's a lot of people, and that's a lot of carbon. But the way it works is a citizen of California cannot simply enroll in the Clean Power Alliance. It's up to the community to do that through their municipal decision-making jurisdiction, typically a city council or a board of supervisors. So it's up to the cities. And we're hopeful that more and more civic leaders, city council people, will understand the model better. But the way it works is a majority of a city council can elect to join the CPA. And when it does so, it has 3 default power rates that then become effective throughout the city. And those provide different pricing options and different environmental outcomes. Rolling Hills Estates chose a 100% option for its residents. And it's really an amazing thing when you think about it. By doing that, any resident, by doing nothing after the city council has acted, has in effect reduced as much carbon as he would by having solar panels on his home for a lot less money. Now, some people are resistant to the idea of a city setting a default, making all of their residents members of the CPA, and finding a default category for them to fit into. The 3 categories are lean power, it's 36% renewable energy, clean power, which is 50% renewable energy, and 100% green power, which is 100%. But people
Hey,
don't
Steve,
like decisions.
remember to advance your slides.
Thank you very much. You know what? There we go. It's very important that people understand that we're really not, a city council is not reducing choices by enrolling its residents into the CPA. It's expanding them because they can opt out anytime they want, go back to SCE, or they can opt up or down with respect to the different categories that they want to be in. What we found is that it's really the only effective way to get people to do the most effective thing they can to help the environment. Because a lot of people would like, in a sense, to have solar panels on their roof, or they would like to enroll in a program like the CPA, but they've got busy lives. And so something that I call decisional inertia enters into the picture. And they don't make that decision. So we make a decision that to give them a broader choice than they currently have. And the way it works is we buy the electricity. Southern California Edison delivers it. And they continue to be the billing agent for the customer, so that it's really almost invisible to customers. You're going to get a bill that looks almost exactly the same, except in the section of the bill where it shows generation costs, it'll mention the CPA. But power and transmission is still up to Edison. It is something that has worked well enough that we now do have 1 million people enrolled in the program. 1 million people, about $1 billion a year in terms of what they're paying for very clean power. And when I say very clean power, we have already met the state's 10-year standard of providing 60% clean power to the user. We far exceeded it. So it's something that I think everyone should take extremely seriously. The other things that are good about the CPA and good about giving people local choice is that we do have local programs. We're offering money to community-based organizations. We're 7 colleges for disadvantaged areas for people to learn about energy, electricity. They can go to work for Edison after they do this. They can go to work for us. But it really does provide an important pathway for students. We also have a grant program for the community-based organizations, and we will be increasingly reinvesting for local area projects, and that'll be for storage, electric vehicle infrastructure and the chargers, rooftop solar assistance for the end user, and a demand response program for the end user. We were the first community choice aggregator in the state to be awarded this kind of local level funding. Currently, we have in the works plans for local community solar programs that are a little over 3 megawatts. And we're hoping to create 5 to 8 projects of that nature. People within that 5-mile radius will receive a 20% bill discount, and it'll provide a lot of delivery redundancy so that they are protected from system brownouts and blackouts. We're excited about the CPA, and we really want more and more people to be aware of this incredibly important tool to do more than probably they can otherwise do to reduce global warming. And that's kind of it. I could talk about, the other thing I do need to mention, I mentioned the local level, but we've become a very big player. We're one of the largest power delivery entities in the country. And as so, we really do shape the markets, and we do that by creating incentives for people to build new projects. So we have already signed 6 long-term power purchase agreements, and they involve a combination of solar, wind, small hydro, and most recently, a battery storage project. And they're big, and these projects would not have been built except for the fact that they have guaranteed customers with the CPA. The battery storage project, along with a similar storage project in South Australia, is the largest in the world. So the CPA is making a big difference at a macro level and an important difference at the community level. I just really want to briefly mention the COVID virus problem, and we are extremely concerned. None of our customers will be disconnected for non-payment. We've now made it easier for our customers to enroll in programs that have existed for low-income people. And the SCE is partnering with us in this effort. So in that regard, people who are interested can contact Edison directly if they need or are interested in more information about these programs. No one will lose power because of non-payment. So again, I'll sit back and I'll let Jennifer probably, again, either elaborate, ask questions, or otherwise, and take questions from anyone at this meeting.
Thank you so much, Steve. So our first question is from Carrie Hart. And Carrie, this is a question that I had for Steve a long time ago. But just as you heard from his, it has to do, her question is Palos Verdes Estates, does Palos Verdes Estates belong to the CPA? And the thing is, there's no city here on the Hill that belongs to the CPA, to the Clean Power Alliance, other than Rolling Hills Estates. So that's why Steve is here. And if you go up the coast, the only other city up the coast is Santa Monica, and then you have to go inland to South Pasadena. So in terms of what's happening here locally, and Steve can talk to it, but these other city councils have been approached, and they did not band together to do what Rolling Hills Estates has done. And we talked earlier, it is upon us as citizens of our cities to go to the city councils, and maybe we have to petition them, but we need them to join, because this is the only way that we're going to have access to the clean power that Clean Power Alliance has done. So the other question is from Connie. She says it's too long and she would like to be unmuted, Reggie.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's from Connie. Connie's
we're going to bring
unmute.
Connie online here.
Yeah.
Minute.
I'm going to real quickly also put a little addendum onto what Nancy said.
Actually, well, I'm sorry. Could you also unmute Jennifer? She's replying in the chat, but Jennifer, you can talk.
Can I?
Yes.
This is Connie. May I?
Yeah, but Connie, you can go, but Jennifer,
Because
you can
I have history here that I'm dying to put out there that will inform this a bit. May I?
Yes.
Okay. So I don't know if you're aware of this, Steve, but I first brought the CCA concept to your city and also to my city, Palos Verdes Estates. I spoke to Debbie Stigura, who was on your environmental, I don't know what you call your environmental committee, advisory committee, I think, brought her concept. At the time, we were asking cities to join the feasibility study. And your city joined it, and actually Palos Verdes did join the study. Kind of a no-brainer, because it was free. Why not? Even so, I couldn't get Rancho Palos Verdes to join the feasibility study. Anyway, the county went through the feasibility study, determined it was feasible. Your city, I was so happy to find out, did wisely join the CPA. But our city, Palos Verdes Estates, held back. And as far as I know, Rancho Palos Verdes, I've talked to Eric Alegria about it, and I don't know, I don't know what their problem is. But our city, Palos Verdes Estates, didn't do it because we were going through the upheaval that's still not finished in our city, all about our city's finances and so forth, all that trumped up nonsense. And some of the Chicken Little folks in our city just read the so fine print and saw the city would lose sovereignty if we joined the CPA. And so they didn't join it. And so that's where they are on that. But I'm thrilled to see Rolling Hills Estates and how far you've taken this. I think that's fabulous. And my question for you is, how many people in your city have chosen the 100% choice of menu?
Everything was 100% when it started, because that was our default level. Only 8% of the city has opted out or down from the 100%. So, I mean, we've maintained virtually almost everyone at 100%. And thank you very much. We were actually one of the two first cities, along with the county, that started this ball rolling. The county's been huge in it. They actually provided a $10 million loan to get us going, and they provided meeting space and legal assistance, just hugely, hugely important. Sheila Kuehl has really been our leader at the county level. But yeah, Little Rolling Hills Estates and Little South Pasadena were the two cities that got this going. Now, in terms of other coastal cities, Malibu is also a member, and they're a 100% member. They will be in October of this year. Santa Monica is 100%, as you mentioned, but the cities like us that are South Pasadena, Sierra Madre, Santa Monica, Oxnard, Ojai, and Malibu. So we're pretty proud to be part of that list.
And one more comment. We still, I'm also a member of the Citizens Climate Lobby, and we lobby for carbon fee and dividend. I think the statement that joining the CPA was more important or a better thing that people can do than carbon fee and dividend, and I can't agree with that. It does handle our usage in our homes and in commercial properties. It does take care of that, but the transportation piece is completely unaddressed by the CPA, and that's a huge piece too of the climate problem. So I just wanted to say that as well.
Well, and that's huge. That transportation is the biggest contributor to carbon. But the next largest contributor is energy use, and a ton of carbon is indeed a ton of carbon. And I'm going to respond real quickly to your comments about RPV and PVE. They correspond pretty much to my secondhand understanding as well. PVE is wrong, however, if they claim that the CPA takes away their sovereignty. In fact, it broadens the range of choices. They have denied their people a range of choices that my residents have. And those choices range from staying with Edison to being 100% green. So when people start talking about choice, they really need to understand that they're being denied choice by not being members of the CPA.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more, and I'm wondering if you would help us lobby them.
I certainly will, and I'm right now talking to people in RPV about it, and you're right about them. There are, call it what you will, philosophical issues going on. I mean, I've heard discussions amongst decision makers in RPV where they really question man's contribution to global warming. Knowledge that it's happening, very, very dubious as to what our contribution is, despite some of the most sophisticated scientific models that probably have ever been developed. I mean, these models now, they get tweaked every year, are incredible. And unfortunately, they're showing that past predictions, if anything, were not draconian enough. So it's troubling that decision makers can be that backward, but I'm doing my best at an individual level. I can say that if both cities did not deny or refuse to apply, what they did is they pushed it forward, they pushed it to a later date, and when that happens, it's really important that more than a handful, or at least even a handful of people, go to those council meetings, because it is incredibly amazing. I was really surprised when I first got on the council how important it is. I mean, just a few cogent comments from members of the public really can change an outcome.
Well, thank you for your leadership on this. That's all I want to say.
Thank you very much. Okay, I want to get some of the other questions in. So Denzi Nelson, he corrected me, and thank you, Denzi. Redondo and Manhattan Beach are already a part of CPA. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to leave them out. Kay Ju wants to let everybody know that the PV Library District Board of Trustees voted to have the library district join the CPA a year ago. Carol Muller wants to ask the question, if by chance every city voted to join, would there be enough clean energy?
Well, that's a really interesting question. I don't have the answer to that. Jennifer may have more background on that, but that is an interesting question. Since the grid allows for importation of energy from many, many places, I think it may. Actually, right now, during the summer months, in the middle of the day, we already have more clean energy than we can use. So my guess is that we would, but maybe Jennifer can provide more information on that.
Sure. Thanks, Steve. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. Hi, everyone. Yeah, like Steve said, my name's Jennifer. I'm the Director of External Affairs for Clean Power Alliance. Stevie did a fabulous job explaining how we work and the leadership that not just Rolling Hills Estates, but a lot of our jurisdictions have taken in choosing 100% green power, and as well as just participating in Clean Power Alliance and making that choice available to your constituents. The question about sort of, is there enough renewable energy to go around? It's a great question. We get that a lot out in the community. And like Steve was saying, there is a ton of renewable energy out there now, and which is part of what enables us to go onto the market and access that clean power at competitive rates and be able to provide it at competitive rates, and in some cases even cheaper rates than what Southern California Edison offers. So, you know, I definitely don't have a crystal ball either and can't tell you what the future would look like if every single city opted to join Clean Power Alliance tomorrow, which obviously there's a process. Right now, there's about 60 cities in LA County that are not participating in a community choice energy program. So there is quite a lot of cities who still are not participating in this model, but over time, I do anticipate that some, not all, will continue to join either Clean Power Alliance or another CCA or form their own. So there is plenty of renewable energy out on the market right now. And like Steve said, that demand, and as we see increased demand and desire for customers to have this model, it will push further development. So Clean Power Alliance has already invested in a number of long-term, large, new steel in the ground, new renewable energy projects. And as we see more and more people going to this option, we will continue to invest in those new projects across the state of California.
Okay, thank you so much. I had a little bit of falling down here. Wait a minute. Sorry about that. Sorry. Kind of falling down here.
And then the comment from Doug is great as well, a great addition. Under California state law, the state, all energy providers in the state are required to move towards 100% renewable energy. So we're going to get there no matter one way or another.
Okay, so you saw that. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I think there was one other, was there another one before that? No, I guess Doug Bender was the last question. Does anybody else have a question for Steve?
Well, Doug had brought up the Arcadia Energy thing. I don't know if Steve wanted or Jennifer wanted to comment about that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I just saw that as well. I don't have a lot of knowledge about how that program works. It's a third-party provider where you essentially can, you know, through your electric account with Edison, you can sort of sign up for this third-party option that buys and sells clean power. It's, you know, it's an option out there. We haven't heard a lot of our customers using that option. And if you were to go that route, you would be a Clean Power Alliance customer. But the nice thing with Clean Power Alliance is that because council members like Steve and council members from the rest of our cities serve on our board of directors, they're sort of that final decision-making body for establishing our rates. So those 3 power options that Steve mentioned, our board adopts rates that guarantees the price for customers for that amount of renewable energy. So if you sign up for 100% green power, our board ensures that Clean Power Alliance keeps that 100% clean option at only a 9% premium compared to Edison. And so having that local connection is one of the big reasons why cities decide to join CCAs, because you know, you as elected officials are beholden to your community and know what works for your community. And so there's that accountability to keeping those rates at the levels they were promised and being able to go out and secure energy at those rates.
So you see the question also from Nancy, and I know a lot of cities get this as well. What is the downside of a city joining from their perspective? Do they lose revenue?
Am I online or? Probably I should let Jennifer Handlett, oh, it's revenue neutral. There literally is no downside. I guess the only input that cities provide into CPA is some time spent on the part of their representative on the board. Every city has a representative on the board. It has to be an elected individual. That's it.
Okay. All right. Any other questions before we move on for announcements? Anybody else? Okay. Thank you so much, Steve. I will hopefully maybe get your help for Palos Verdes Estates and maybe help you with, we have members also in RPV to get them on board as well. Okay.
I want to thank Ben also. Ben is a pretty new father. He's a really busy guy. And I mean, I'm saying this really truthfully. I can learn more listening to Ben for a half hour than I can learn, I think, from anyone else listening probably for a day. It's amazing. I especially was amazed by his insights on the electoral process. And I'm just really proud of Ben's representation of our area in Sacramento. It's really made a difference. And one example of that, given this outbreak, is his leadership on vaccination. So he's a white knight, and I'm really appreciative.
Okay.
I just wanted to
as-
echo that. Thanks for the remarks today, Senator. Really appreciate it.
We had one last thing, and this was what it was from Carly Schwartz about how we can organize an RPV. And I think it's what Steve was saying is you have to go to the city council, you have to petition, and you have to get other citizens to push the city council. So that's something we should talk about in further meetings and maybe have committees set up to go to the city council meetings. I did talk to Reggie about this earlier, and right now the city councils are pretty inundated with the COVID stuff. So I don't even think they want to hear this.
I think that's a really good point. And now would not be the best time.
Yeah.
Probably want to wait things to get a little more normal. And you really can present your request at any council meeting.
Yes.